All right. So happy Monday. Happy Monday. Yes, it's Monday. Hope you had a nice weekend. Thanks for joining already. So as I remember, I think everybody here has been in the call on Saturday as well. Thanks a lot for the call on Saturday. Really was way above my expectations. I was mostly thinking, okay, coming together, providing some updates, gathering some feedback, but I didn't expect at all that it went in this beautiful direction where it went. Therefore, special shout out, Kirsten, fucking you rock. Zoe, same to you. Thanks a lot for speaking up. And then, Jonathan. Hey, John, nice to see you. So we ended the call with saying as well, okay, we don't want to keep it only by speaking. We want to initiate some nice, fast, low-hanging fruit solutions as well. So this means initiating, how do we call it? Moderators initiative, whatnot. Because we definitely see, okay, we have our community spaces.
Safety net.
Skinhead? What?
Safety net.
Skinhead. Don't speak to Nadim like this. He's great. Safety net, yes. So that we have our community channels and servers, and we want to keep them clean. We want moderated places, and it gives nothing to go to the entities knocking on IoT store and say, hey, why do you not moderate the spaces? As we as a community have as well the responsibility to moderate the spaces, right? Means now that there are several initiatives already going on. So Catalyst Circle will recruit already, will start the announcement of, and recruitment of a Catalyst Circle moderator. Catalyst School and ambassadors will submit a proposal as well to onboard educate moderators. And then the thing anyway, what can we do already before? Because when those guys say, okay, we want to educate onboard moderators, we need some criteria, we need some basic guidelines, we need some mapping out already, okay, on which channels do we need moderation? The goal and the purpose, I think, of this team here is to figure all this beautiful stuff out, building the very first stepping stones in this direction. And with this, I also want to say everybody who is participating here, you will be definitely part of, I have to figure out how, but your contribution here needs to be rewarded as well. So there will definitely coming something back to you as well. This might take a little time, but yeah, for sure. Will not be forgotten. And with this, I gave the intro, so my job is done. Now up to you to decide everything what can follow.
One more bread from me. They are very good at when they're freshly baked, so start to discuss.
Maybe a good place to start is, I don't know if we have a map of our social ecosystem and where, like how many channels there are and what needs to be moderated.
Started something yesterday. Give me a second.
I linked what is Felix looking right now. I also have a journey map, what we could look into. I don't know how. I think this is a bit better, well, less information to start with, so we kind of start with the root cause.
But maybe also before kicking off, also asking at very first, what do the people here in the room want to see as outcome of this initiative of the team coming together here? Which time frame and what do you want to see happen here?
Well, I think that the most valuable output we could have is an action point on how we can de-escalate the conflicts that are currently going on? Because I think some of us, if not all of us, have seen that there are a few tensions. So how do you want to solve all this? Because I agree with, I forgot whose name it was, but basically we're too tolerant of inadequate behavior. And the preferred output, in my opinion, would be, okay, what's the threshold that the person cannot cross? If we can solve that, I think we have a starting point.
Kawi, if you, here in the call, we don't have really a host or moderator, so don't raise your hand, just speak out.
Oh, all right. Sorry, Felix. I agree with Alexandro in everything. And I think an action point based on what Zoe and Kirsten brought last Saturday is to have some form of channel, or like right away while things are still boiling, to comfort the bullied, who has been bullied, and in order to get information, and with that information we can organize it in a way to see what the next steps should be. But I think creating a channel for who is suffering to speak up should be a priority. I don't know what you guys think.
I think that would be super relevant because it would help with establishing what's going on. Because while Danny did a good job de-escalating and stopping what was going on in Telegram, it would be too much to ask for him to know or to decide even who do I want to maybe call a bully, or who would I address to be an instigator or to be a victim, or however we want to call it. So if we would have a channel where we could look at an issue a little bit closer and see, is this something that is crossing lines that we might have in Catalyst, or that we might feel as a community have been crossed, or can we have both parties just get together and try and mediate? Because we shouldn't forget there's online communication, and online communication is really difficult. So getting into an argument and then resolving it is more difficult than if we actually talk to each other.
Could I make a request that we unshare the Miro board? I just really value being able to see who's speaking, and I can't see when it's just alongside. So if people want to look at the Miro board, they can, can't they? Thank you.
Okay.
This is just Tivo's Miro fetish. If you have Tivo, you have a Miro board in the center of the universe.
No, I think it's good to have one. It's just, I just want to be able to see who's speaking so I don't cut in on it.
I have a different screen, so one screen of all faces, another for my report, so I don't really think about that. But yeah, good point. On topic of expected outcomes, from me, like this call action plan, I would love to see if we could come up with some standard form. We could all agree that, yep, this is how we could record the issue and what is required for to like put that, to get that data of an issue, and then we can take this to the place where Kerstin was talking about, where place where we could analyze it. So if we have like one source where we collect that information, then a process where we take that information. I guess the analyzing we don't have to make it too complicated for now, and just look it as a face value of people who there are. And the second point where I would, in like 2-week time, where I would like to get this thing going is, of course, raise it in a Catalyst circle, bring it to Danny's and IoG attention to get some kind of feedback from them, what they need from us in order to make community members moderators on Telegram channels. So we slightly like changed the power dynamics from directly from IoG to bit of community who is able to actually respond to these way quicker.
Yeah, I think that's really good, the idea of community moderation on those channels, but I guess we need to decide what the criteria will be for moderating, because otherwise there'll be certain people who will step and go, I'll be a moderator, and they might not be kind of what we're looking for. The other thing I was thinking is that I think there's like a twofold thing going on here, that on the one hand, maybe there is a process if somebody wants to kind of almost like bring a case and say, yeah, I have experienced this and it needs action. But there also might be something to do with collecting just anonymous data, people who are prepared to just come and say, yeah, I've experienced this. It's almost like if anybody's ever come across a project called Everyday Sexism, which you'll see on Twitter and in other places, where people just freely post things that they have experienced that are kind of examples of exclusion and marginalization. And that would just give us data that would enable us to say, look, I know there's people who will go, oh, it's probably all just made up, but you know, it probably isn't. And I think we can argue the case that it isn't. And it just gives you some backup to say, look, this is not just some isolated person who's oversensitive. I've already seen the word oversensitive being used on Telegram today, and it's just makes me roll my eyes a little bit. So, but also, yeah, the other thing I was going to say is whatever process we use, it's really important that we communicate to people who might want to use it exactly what happens. Because when something like this happens to you, you feel really disempowered and you need to be back in control and you need to know exactly what the process will be. That's all.
I'm still a bit skeptical about moderating Telegram because it is so huge and there are so many messages, and I think it would be very hard to really moderate it. So I think it would be a very helpful solution to just provide a place where people can speak up and talk to someone so they get heard and listened to. Yeah, after the last meeting, I also thought that it could be a good idea to like make the moderators fill out a form after every issue to so we can collect this data not in a way to name the people, but just to find out what was the issue and what happened and stuff, so we can figure out what should be in this form, what we need for analysis, and for me it's just really a mind-boggling thing to think about with Telegram and moderating it completely. But then Discord, the Discord channel would be a good idea in my mind.
I think also it's important to differentiate. I think the purpose of the team here is not that the people here will go and moderate the spaces. Don't worry, sorry. Nobody will ask you to moderate any Telegram, Twitter, Discord, or Ideasgate accounts, right? I think the purpose here is really to figure out already, okay, what is needed. And as you mentioned already, yes, being a moderator, I think it's a really tough job because you have to be 24/7. You have to be up to date if you care about your community and about the channels you moderate. And it's also an uncomfortable job because at moderator, you become a target kind of fast as well, right? And there needs to be a backup as well for them, which then leads us maybe to the situation that we have 3 different kinds. We have one's, okay, ideation, setup, designing process of, okay, how could this all look like? Onboarding, educational, and execution of moderators themselves. Then for community members or the moderators, a safe place where bad experiences or impressions or whatnot can be shared in an anonymous way, so that we can protect victims as well. And at the third base, that we have people who are then able to respond to those people, because these are maybe not forcefully moderators now. Here we come much more to mediators, some kind of this. So I think already by differentiating it, does it make sense? What do you say?
Yes, it does. It's really, now it's pretty much we have to decide, do we want to scale? Because what you're talking about is pretty much scaling the moderation work, where my vision was more to like create a MVP to get that ball rolling. Yeah. So we kind of have to decide. And to me, moderation doesn't mean it has to be 24 hours and job. And like the one of the reasons why I made you all moderators is like, I trust you to understand when the issue comes up and to speak up, and still, yeah, be an opportunity to, if somebody feels like they are being misused, that at least have like a group of people who to turn to. And once they, I think the biggest issue here might be, like, I don't know if it's the biggest, but if somebody has a problem and it feels like in a struggle, but then get to talk with somebody who is like a moderator, who has the insight of, hey, you don't have to be in this Telegram group. I know this is a or like in this channel or wherever, and you can provide another place, like you always said, like a safe place for them to go. It's that is like the one way I see like moderators to do like a guidance of where what else to provide them on the place where they could go.
And also, I think that the priority should lie on people who need help, and not necessarily on making you know, the moderation as everywhere as possible or something. Yeah, we can improve scaling when we figured out what system we want to establish, I think.
Yep, definitely agree. Also, focus should be on very first, like we saw already, that we have more victims than we thought, right? And there's no place for them. The audience, the community focus on the bullies, but nobody focus on the victims, right? So we should definitely take focus on, I don't like to call it victims, I hate this word, but well, on victims instead of bullies. And the moderators process, this is really something I see happening through, it starts now, but it's a whole initiative, and first results come out in some month maybe, right? Because we will submit proposals, we have to execute it at first, figuring out, okay, so the reward scheme before making moderator, community moderator, an official role. Just something I see, yeah, okay. In 4 or 5 months, maybe we have something on place. I would be happy if we have in 5 months 2 or 3 moderators go onboarded and educated. But immediately, I think, yeah, we definitely should simply focus on social structure, so-called social dynamics, figuring out, hey, how can we provide help for the victims that very first already. So like Reese mentioned, Reese, is it Reese? Yes, okay. Reese mentioned already, yeah. Discord might be, like we saw this time, also the best way to go. Definitely, we can set up everything kind of easy, and we have the Discord server are in community control already, so this is something we can directly go. We don't have to coordinate with IoT or whatnot. Tivo, setting up a channel where people can address anonymous content.
What do you mean by anonymous content? Like,
well, as me as a victim, when I post, hey, I was treated like this or that, maybe I don't want to have my name behind.
Yeah, well, for that, I think easiest to get this started would be a Google form. And like one person will see, well, I don't actually have to ask a contact, but I think it would be necessary to ask a contact who is making the incident. We just don't have to make it public. And but I know is that also a barrier? And then like how would even let's say, you already said it, a victim feel like when he has to report something? Like, is it maybe this is also like an off-putting thing for them, like, oh, now there is something I don't like, I'm like, and I don't know how to respond, I'd rather be quiet, and now there is an option to report. Like, is that is that going to be even used?
This we don't know until we do not write, right?
And how do we make it so that
we announce it town hall? We announce it on the community service.
There was something that was said in Saturday's meeting that we mustn't forget, is that we must be really sure that we tell people who sees the reports, because if you had a dispute with somebody who was one of those people, that would be an issue. So we just need to make sure everyone's aware.
Can you make one-to-one? Yeah, you can direct message someone on Discord, but if you set up a channel, is it always that everyone can see it who's in the channel, or is there also a possibility to like make it one-to-one or something like only the moderators can see the message you put in, and then they can reply to you or something?
Yep, this is very feasible to set up with simple role setting on Discord. So you have specific roles, and with the specific role, you have a specific access to channels. So very often when you're on a Discord server, for example, you as a community member see everything what is public, but all the private channels from the admins or the team behind, very often they are private and you can't see them, but they are on the server.
Except in Swarm, because apparently everybody is an owner there.
Most people don't know Swarm has hundreds of admins. Almost everybody on the Swarm server has admin rights and theoretically could mess up the whole server, but still nobody did. But I think not too many people should know about it. It's a social experiment again. But yeah, maybe we can go on the Project Catalyst community Discord, Tivo. What do you think?
Yeah, there we can definitely.
How do we?
Yeah, I kind of dropped the ball today. I wanted to change the entire architecture, but there is definitely already quite many rules set, and we'll be setting even more. And with bot what can allow people to take positions, but I haven't made it so you can take moderations. So I don't know how to we figure that out. But what I wanted to say with that is now there is an opportunity to like automate that stuff, like not right away, but when we have an idea and like a clear use case, we have the tooling, the know-how, and the people who do that stuff. So it may take somewhat time, but that's also a good to know and positive thing.
But you didn't answer the. Can you set up a channel and roll? Like, wow,
Yeah.
we can do it. Oh.
Yeah, I can do that. I start tomorrow, and then I just yeah, another thing. All of the people I added moderator on the Swarm server, I think it won't make sense if we make these people on the moderator on the Catalyst Swarm too, like on the Cardano. So we have the same people on everywhere, so we don't have to, like in normal world, we do the certifications of like we know the person is moderator, so you don't have to go through the whatever registration.
Yep.
So we are like united all from all the fronts. We just don't have to moderate all the servers we are in. We just, when we see something in the environment around us, then we have the power to do something.
I think it's also great legitimacy also to the and power to the moderators, that they are not only focused on one single server. We give them the certification to say, yeah, okay, you approved the, yeah, you have the right everywhere. What is kind of feasible because all of the Discord, most of the Discord servers are community driven as well, right? So that we can play and set up whatever we want. One thing, Kirsten, because when you felt that shit and all the stuff, would you imagine that a simple Discord server already where you can reach out to specific people and already just present your problem in a safe manner, would this be already satisfactional, or do you would like to see something more from the beginning already?
No, I think that would be pretty good, because the thing that I thought about most is what would I do? So I wasn't sure what to do or where to go, which generally leads to kind of frustration. Like, do I just like let this slip, or do I talk to somebody? Do I if there's no like group that might be responsible, then you have to pick out a single person who might be busy. You know what I mean? Like, I put this on Steven in this case, not knowing if he had other things to do. But if it is a matter that is within an emotional kind of area, then people might feel that they have to answer you, or else the other person might feel worse. So I don't think that's really a good thing. And the other thing is, as I said, I think it is important to have this channel, because if you are new, you might not even want to deal with it if there's like a general thing that you observe in the Telegram channel, and you are not already an active member of the community. I don't think that you want to deal with it. So you will probably just leave. Because why would you want to be in a community where you think, if I say something, I might just have a really bad day or whatever? And so those things would help everybody to like make it easier to say something, or to just get some help. And it might make it also less dramatic, you know what I mean? Like, until I reached out to Steven, I have I have been feeling a little mad, which like led to me reaching out. And I don't think this is a good starting point for like a discussion. So make it less of a thing. And while it went very fast from when I started talking about it, it took me quite some time to like bring it up. And so I think if there's a channel and we just like iterate on what to do, and if I would have spoken to one of or all of the people that I felt like have been not that great in their responses, maybe it would have been easier for for this issue, I guess. So yes, the short answer, yes, I think that's a great idea. It will solve a lot of those initial problems.
Then next step would be, do we have already people in the community who would fit into this role, into this position? If so, how do we call this group? Is it simply CMs, community moderators, or whatnot? And what can we offer to them as well? Because it takes a certain time and engagement, also responsibility, and that definitely needs to be support for this role.
I think there's also trust issues because, you know, like that question came to me, but I'm other people might want to go to other people, you know, and you know, so I mean, and also the people who can be the people who are there, who people can contact, they should have some sort of trust, they should have some sort of capability in the eyes of the community, but also actual capability to deal with this kind of thing. And also there's the availability issue as well, I suppose, because this can happen any time of the day, you know, so, you know, that's what comes to mind.
I'm a little bit confused. Are these moderators people who are going to be dealing with, say, if an issue actually arises and people are slanging each other and they're going to intervene, and or is this more where somebody might come up and say, oh, I experienced this 6 months ago, or I have a general feeling that this is an issue? Is it both or just one of those?
I think both.
Both, but starting with one. And I think starting simply with people who can offer a certain amount of time per week to say, okay, I'm simply there. If there are concerns or whatnot, I will offer a call, one-to-one, whatnot, and simply giving the possibility to people already simply to listen to. Hey, you have your problem, you go through a really shitty experience. Hey, we have people here in the community who are there to listen to you. Very first thing already. And this can be done very simply, right? Even by the people here in the room, you can say, okay, who would like to participate in the very first initiative simply? Then we get the most important, we get the experience, and then we do what we do best in Catalyst. We build up on this experience and evolve over iterations. And then, yes. But I think the moderator's role really comes later. At the beginning, it's much more a pedagogic role, I think. So there are some really good concepts about individual pedagogy, which are extremely strong. And everything based on the same stuff. Simply allow people to speak to someone who cares about what you have to say. That's all. And there's a lot happening.
So just a question, like assume someone comes up and says, I'm facing an issue, or I faced an issue previously. Usually these are very sensitive topics and very case by case, personalized, customized. And so what happens next? Because mismanaging a very delicate, sensitive situation can also backfire and make that person feel worse. Like I even went to the person that was supposed to solve it for me, and they haven't done anything, or they didn't manage it correctly. Something to think of as well.
I would say it would be also important to that these, if we want to call it moderators, sit together maybe once every week or every 2 weeks or something to just discuss what they experienced. It would be something that really, you know, I mean, you would also split up time. So you have to work with each other anyways. Yeah. Also, I wanted to say that I don't think that the word moderator fits, because yeah, with community moderator, I understand someone who yeah, scrolls through the chats and stuff. Yeah, I'd like to call it mental health support or something, but I don't know if this is requiring some more professional certificate stuff or something. But yeah, it's up to discussion.
So definitely, we need two names. So mediator.
Nurses.
Mediator doesn't really apply because mediator mostly is the third person who tries to solve a problem between two, which is not the first priority here. Here, the first priority is simply, I would say it one-to-one accompaniment, which goes
Community listener.
Yeah, maybe we call it something, and also each time when you go into the psychological area, you have to be very careful with the names you choose, right? You don't want to state somebody, okay, mental health care. A lot of people don't go to the psy. Maybe they should, but they don't go because they don't want to go say, I go to mental health care, because then you state yourself as weak already, what you maybe don't want to do all the time. So this is the funny fact which blocks a lot of people by going to a psycho, but well. So maybe something just like the community years, something like whatnot, finding a nice metaphor, a nice name, which does not trigger forcefully direct mental or psychological pedagogic approach. You try to hide, right? Finest kind of pedagogy. You don't even know that it's happening.
Why would mediation not be a good goal? Because I think like I would hope that an outcome could be to resolve issues. So I do connect that with mediation. Like I don't really want to fight. That I guess was a fight, but I would rather not fight, and I don't have mental health issues except when I'm bullied. I have them because then I get mad or angry. So I mean, resolving those issues through like mediation might be good, I guess.
I just think we can't decide that for the person who's coming. And if they think, oh my God, I'm going to be pushed into mediate to get with somebody who's bullied me, I don't really feel able for that, or I don't want that. I think we have to sort of say we're neutral in what the outcome will be, and we listen to them.
Yeah, that makes sense. Listening is well, no, it's not a passive thing. Okay, yeah, I guess that's seems about.
No, I agree. It's not, listening isn't a passive thing. It's a cooperative endeavor. And mediation is a funny thing because, yeah, that could work in perhaps a kind of real structured organization, but there's a kind, I feel there's a kind of imbalance here. So where one side often has a kind of very loud presence and another side may not. So the mediation may be a bit artificial. Maybe that's my view. So I agree in the first instance, if someone is, particularly if they're feeling vulnerable, and for whatever reason, not just, you know, mental health is as part of it, it's just the listening.
And also mediator also sounds like you will talk to two parties, and yeah, I can't emphasize it enough. It's not about proving that you got bullied or something, or proving that you're feeling bad and then you have to solve the problem with the other person. It's just yeah, I think mediator is quite a different thing to do, with completely different goals. You want to clear an issue between two people, and as I understood it, it's about the person who needs help and their mind.
So it's kind of really funny, I think, because we mostly play around mediators and moderators, and mediators, moderators are well-known roles. They have a definition. I think what we are looking for is a role which does not exist yet in our society. The only role which comes near or close to it is a psi, but we don't want a psi. We just want a well-experienced, cool person from the community who is able to listen to those who have problems. Well, we could say now, hey, shit, this makes a lot of sense. Why does our society does not have this? Well, it would make a lot of sense. The thing is, well, we are in a new ecosystem, we are in a new world, and here we have to define a new role. So, but we definitely should separate it so from mediators and moderators. They might come as a next step later then. If I listen to somebody, I want to have anyway a plan behind to say, okay, if I listen to this person and invest and engage time, well, I want to do with this something with this as well. It's a resource, right? And then comes a certain part, I think, when two persons have a certain relationship and trust is built, then coordination happens. Then the person who is coming to listen to you, because it's a well-experienced community member, he knows, okay, how could the next step could look like? It's not in business anymore. Now he becomes the coordinator, simply to say, hey, okay, here mediation could work. Here this or that could work, whatnot. But the very first instance, I think, about what we are discussing, it's not a defined role yet. And I think therefore we are struggling because we want to compare to roles we know, but doesn't really match here. Culture supporter sounds nice, yeah. Catalyst culture support.
Would it even be some sort of weekly meetups like this venue where people are heard? You know, I don't even know that it have to be specific to the channels that it's happening on. You know, if we could hold these roundtables occasionally, I don't know, just, you know, because there's dozens of channels, probably hundreds of channels inside of this experiment. And is it a separate venue that acts as that, you know, resource entirely, that gathers them all instead of us having to spread across these dozens and try to cover time and effort?
I think the effort will really be worth it because, yeah, as Felix said there, we can't really compare it to existing roles because it will really be something new. And I think the work and effort just to yeah, spread it over all the channels that are there would be really necessary, because how else would you know about this? If you experience something in a Telegram group, you don't go and Google Cardano support or something. Yeah, you know, I think the effort would be really worth it, and it is much needed. And I don't think that this is a burden. I think that this is part of the work.
Diversity listen. Nah. Come up with words. And I think the role listener stuck with us the most, if I read the rule correctly. It's maybe not the best, but it's a slightly better because, like, compared to moderator, because it feels like less official, less bureaucratic, and it's not mediator. I forgot the reasons, but yeah, I guess like it's better not to be a mediator. So I would stick with role listener. However, let's play through a scenario where there is an incident and there is one person suggesting an idea, another person says, hey, very like aggressively stop, like, I don't know, spamming or doing your crappy ideas here, go to proposal, post it there, and whoever received that information took it quite negatively, but he's still, or she's still open to give it a more go, because when she entered like Telegram or through Town Hall, he heard the message that there is a safe place in here and the community is very passionate and very collaborative and very supportive. So he tries to find that community and probably ask where could I report the incident. So would that scenario be already like feasible? And if it is, then when he gets the form link, what he's gonna read there, what is going to be the attractive measures in order for him or her to report that kind of incident?
I think just now you brought the total new aspect, you brought the onboarding aspect in the whole thing, right? So somebody's looking for Cardano or whatnot, then but I think it's not an onboarding role. It's not a role to bring new people into the space. Here, I think we speak about a role to keep the people in the space once they arrived and they had the bad experience. It's not about onboarding, I think.
No, it's not about onboarding. I just took an example of person who wanted help, but got very aggressive feedback and the person was already in the system because he kind of knew that there is a safe place there is a support and a lot of passionate people. He maybe even saw some YouTube videos that, oh damn, I want to find these people, but he just, the way, the time and date he got it to Telegram, he just jumped on a bad situation. And so how would we expect that person to stay? Because that's the whole point, where we want to keep the people in here. Would it be too far fetched that he will or she will be looking for a place to report an incident?
I think that a person that is new coming into the space should not have to look for the space for the channel where you report such problems. Basically, in the introduction message, when you join the server, it should tell you if you have any issues, if you encounter, I don't know, certain situations, go to this place. And it should be a well-known fact in the community that we have this channel where you report these problems. That's what I think.
Does Telegram have it, that possibility?
Maybe not Telegram, but yeah, we have, let's say we set up the channel on Discord already, and each town hall, we ask Danny to set a very short each time, hey, and if there are issues to report, if you have some personal or whatnot, Chuck, here's the link. Swarm session, we do the same. Catalyst School, we do the same. Eastern Town Hall, we do the same. Latam Town Hall, we do the same. We just refer everybody to the channel. So we got everything on place already. We have an easy overview about the incoming data, so we can easily work with it as well. We'll have some people on place as moderator, as not yet defined role, who are overwatching the whole stuff. It's our own team. They have they meet on a weekly basis, however they want. I think they should also be accountable in this regard, not accountable, but responsible to report back to the community on a weekly basis. Hey, this is our experience, review the content who is coming in, walk it over, giving it back to the community, which will allow us already to figure out as well when the team is overwatching the experience, to figure out as well, hey, is it going worse or better on this channel or that channel? So people can simply sign up there. Additional to it, a very simple Google form where people can anonymously ask for a one-to-one Zoom call. They can stay anonym or whatnot. You can, if you want to hide your name and everything in Zoom, you can do it. I can just rename myself in XXX, turn off my camera, and well, it's kind of easy if people want to. And from there we offer, it's not only a one call and then the story is over. The goal now is to provide, hey, okay, you schedule 2-3 weeks accompaniment already with 1-2 hours in a week. Next to it, the not yet defined role also has always has the possibility to write on Telegram, Discord, whatnot. I think people who come as victim, they don't want to stay 100% anonym. They want to, when they go into this relation, I think there will not be a problem to show a name and face.
Building on what Zoe was saying about how essential this is, I'd also like to see a kind of a positive aspect to this in terms of, let's say, the listeners are there. The listeners have an understanding of the values of Catalyst, and so it's, you know, you can present it in those positive terms. It's not if you know, it could be a conversation about those values, you know, what they are, you know, and that can form part of the group as well, you know, like who's come to us, what have they said, you know, and also to kind of emphasize how varied that can be. You know, there's different people to listen to, and different perspectives.
I started writing a question, so because Felix added something new, I didn't thought before, like asking a person in the Google form, are you willing to have one-to-one Zoom call to talk about the issue? Then they can just simply say yes or no. Of course, we need a question, what is the issue? Maybe we could make the question a little bit better. And definitely we would need to who caused the issue, or like not caused, like how do we ask a person name, who is it targeted to, like who is the, how do I ask that question? Who do you hate?
Wouldn't general describe your issue, describe the conflict you've had, and we include in parentheses what happened, when it happened, and who it involved, and we let the people describe the situation? Or do we want a questionnaire? My personal opinion is that you'd want a free form where you can write your woes.
Yeah, I agree with that. Keep it quite open.
Yeah, me too. I think if you want to really collect data, you could make this part of the listeners work, like like, you know, make a Google form or whatever after every call to note down what happened, what you talked about, what was the issue and stuff. Not that the survivors, how I'd like to call them, that they have to report everything and you know, write stuff they maybe don't want to really think about. I also think that it would be good to just have a field where you can write what's on your mind, what bothers you, and what happened and stuff. So you don't have to fit into answering questions. And also, I think it would be maybe good to not only provide Zoom calls, but also chat. So yeah, not everyone wants to talk.
Can we?
That is something which we could add on the Google form descriptions, the main descriptions, that what is this form for? And if you're looking for a safe place to talk, then give a Discord channel, perhaps. But it would be public, that Discord channel. But then again, I would say that Discord has been, like maybe I will get fallback here, but Discord has been way more moderated and like kept more safe. Like even when I sometimes go sleep and wake up, there have been like bot trades and weird stuff which have been like removed, which is great. So, and when I'm awake, I always like 50 or even more % of the channels, I keep it unmuted and I like almost glance over everything if not going keep reading them. And I don't tolerate any kind of attack. So I'm just like, bye. No, nobody's going. I just made like a joke that I ban people.
I have to jump off.
Okay.
But I will catch up with the rest. And I think until end of week, channel form announcements. I would like to announce it on Wednesday already. Who would like to do so? Kirsten? Has been a while. You never. Would you like to announce it in Wednesday town hall?
No.
Come on.
No, that was no, I want to step out of this eventually, at least of this conflict. So I don't think I think if I announce something, that is a very good way to start a conflict.
We'll find somebody to present.
But for this Wednesday, isn't that kind of fast? Because like I still have no clue how to create that form. Like, okay, there are a few questions I wrote up, and then so I said, but no questions. I'm okay.
No, let's. We don't have to write the stuff together, right? Just drop the stuff in the Discord channel. Everybody can watch over, add his stuff. For all the forms documents we post there, please make sure that edit access is enabled for everyone. And like this, we can proceed very fast. Huh?
Yeah, okay.
I think Felix, you'd be great to announce it. You have a great countenance, and the way you come across is very.
No. My goal for this year is to move a lot away from public this stuff.
Tivo, I think it should be a circle member. So I'm saying you should do it, Tivo, but I shouldn't do it because, well, I'm not. Yeah, I raised it.
And I think also in such initiatives, we have some celebrities in the community already who present very often, who are very often the leaders of conversations, initiatives, whatnot. What we also need to think about always in new initiatives, a new initiative also provides the space for somebody new to speak up. And this is always a platform as well. And I think always from new initiatives, there should never be community veterans or celebrities making the show. I'm really afraid of too dominant roles in the ecosystem, even for those who might not even recognize that they have it already. So always providing new initiatives, new platforms, new stages for new people as well. And their job is then later to do exactly the same. They go through the same experience and provide open spaces and platforms for new people coming in over the time. Who then again repeat the process, unfortunately, hopefully.
I do agree that a Wednesday announcement, because even if the community is just aware of the conversations going on in the background, it'll help to direct the narrative in the right direction. And you know, even if our forms aren't ready or the other stuff's not ready, just that announcement that there's an effort happening towards it, it'll draw additional people into it, to the effort.
And I think it should be a woman. So Vanessa, you never presented something neither, didn't you?
Oh, I mean, I don't mind doing it, but I don't think I'm necessarily a particularly good person to do it.
Well,
I think it should be, I don't know.
do it, just do it.
All right, all right, all right, all right.
Yes.
Unless
But yeah, if we can have, sorry, if we can have some discussion in the Discord channel about exactly what we want to say and exactly how we want to present it, that would be really useful.
Yep, definitely.
Would it be possible even to have a team or a group present it? I mean, I know we're all isolated now with this Zoom thing, but is there any way to have two people Zoom and not be switching back and forth just to show a collective effort towards it?
What works kind of well is when you have several slides and several people presenting several slides. This can work quite well.
Just no problem with Vanessa presenting, absolutely not. But I think, you know,
so that we can leverage Zoe and Vanessa at the same time.
Yeah, why not?
Okay. I have to jump off. Call is going on. Thanks a lot. And
Thank you, Felix.
see you soon in the one on another place.
Is this recording going to Swarm channel? Oh, actually going to your local computer right now, right?
Yeah.
And we share it in Swarm?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.